It was a quiet morning when the construction crew first arrived at the site. Located in a small rural town, far from the bustle of city life, the area had been chosen for the construction of a new highway. The workers had little expectation that their daily routines would be interrupted by anything out of the ordinary. They were tasked with clearing the land, removing dirt and rocks, and preparing it for the machines that would pave the road. But as the bulldozer rumbled across the earth, it struck something solid, and a strange sound echoed through the air, metal scraping against stone. The crew halted in confusion. Was it just an old piece of machinery buried beneath the dirt? Or had something more significant been hidden here for centuries? Curiosity overtook their caution, and they began digging around the area. As they carefully cleared away the dirt, a sense of disbelief spread among them. What they uncovered wasn't just debris. It was a perfectly preserved wooden coffin. The coffin was unlike anything they had ever seen. Despite its apparent age, the wood was in remarkable condition, though slightly weathered by time. Intricate carvings depicting symbols that seemed both ancient and foreign adorned its surface. The craftsmanship was flawless, and the attention to detail suggested that this was no ordinary burial. The workers knew they had uncovered something far more significant than a forgotten relic. Word spread quickly, and within hours the site was swarming with archaeologists, historians, and reporters. Everyone wanted to know what lay within the coffin. Experts carefully lifted the lid, revealing the body of a young man, laid to rest in what appeared to be an almost ritualistic manner. His bones were intact, and though the skeleton was over 100 years old, the preservation was extraordinary. The body was wrapped in cloth, and a medallion hung from his neck, its intricate design suggesting that it had been a symbol of high status. The excitement in the air was palpable, but there was more to this discovery than the simple finding of an ancient burial. This coffin, with its perfectly preserved skeleton, had been hidden for centuries. The fact that no one had found it before raised even more questions. Who was this person? Why had they been buried in such an elaborate way? And what did the strange symbols on the coffin mean? As the news spread across the globe, experts scrambled to piece together the story of this mysterious burial. They were eager to examine every detail, but nothing could have prepared them for the deeper mysteries that were about to unfold. The discovery of the coffin and its contents sent shockwaves through the academic world. As the team of archaeologists and forensic experts gathered around the skeletal remains, they knew that they were on the verge of unraveling a mystery that had remained hidden for centuries. But despite their expertise, the identity of the person in the coffin remained elusive. The skeleton was well preserved, with no obvious signs of decay. It was clear that whoever this person was, they had been carefully laid to rest, treated with respect, not buried in haste or disregard. Forensic anthropologists began by examining the skeleton's physical characteristics. The bones revealed that the person had been a young man, likely no older than 25 at the time of death. His stature was impressive, his bones strong and healthy, with no indications of malnutrition or disease. These findings suggested that he had been part of an elite or affluent class, someone who had access to the best care, the best food, and perhaps a life of luxury. As the experts ran more tests, they noticed something even more curious. The bones of this individual appeared to be from a civilization far older than the grave itself. Carbon dating revealed that the coffin had been buried over 200 years ago, a shocking discovery that suggested the person had lived during a period of time long before the town's recorded history. Yet the coffin's wood was remarkably preserved, defying the expectations of any historian. The coffin's design, with its finely detailed carvings and ornate decorations, also didn't match the known styles of the time. It appeared to be part of a much older tradition, one that had been lost to time. The excitement grew when the researchers discovered something even more surprising: a faint inscription carved into the inner lid of the coffin. As they carefully brushed away layers of dust and dirt, the words became clearer. The inscription read, "A guardian for the lost." These words, although worn and faded by time, carried a powerful message. It was clear now that this burial was not a random, forgotten resting place. It had a purpose. But whose purpose? The researchers could not figure out who this guardian was, or what he had been protecting. The mystery deepened as they examined the rest of the coffin's contents. The body itself had been wrapped in an ancient cloth that seemed to shimmer faintly, almost as though it held some secret. Beneath the cloth, the researchers found a small, ornate box made of bronze, intricately decorated with symbols that mirrored those on the coffin's carvings. When they opened the box, they found a small, beautiful medallion, identical to the one the man wore around his neck. The medallion was made of a strange metal that gleamed with an otherworldly glow. Symbols were etched into its surface, symbols that none of the experts could immediately recognize. The mystery of the skeleton deepened further. Who was this young man, and why had he been buried in such a way? What was the significance of the medallion, and what did it have to do with the inscription on the coffin? The questions were mounting, and the answers seemed farther away than ever. But one thing was certain. The discovery of this coffin was only the beginning. Something much larger was hidden beneath the surface, and the team of researchers was determined to uncover it. As the investigation continued, the medallion, which had been discovered with the skeleton, became the focal point of the research. Its unusual design and the mystery surrounding its origins ignited curiosity among the team of scientists and archaeologists. Dr. Emily Hayes, a seasoned historian specializing in ancient cultures, was brought in to assist with deciphering the meaning behind the symbols etched on the medallion. Her expertise in ancient languages and symbols proved invaluable, but the medallion presented a challenge unlike anything she had ever encountered. After several weeks of studying the medallion under a microscope, Dr. Hayes began to notice something that sent a chill down her spine. The symbols on the surface were not just random markings, they were a fusion of ancient languages from all over the world. Some resembled Egyptian hieroglyphs, others seemed to belong to ancient Mesopotamian cultures, and a few even resembled symbols found in ancient Mayan texts. Yet the combination of these symbols created a language that had never been seen before. This was a completely unique script. Intrigued, Dr. Hayes began to use her knowledge of ancient scripts to start translating the symbols. It was painstaking work, and progress was slow, but after weeks of research, a startling revelation emerged. Hidden within the medallion's intricate carvings was a map to an uncharted location. The map wasn't a typical geographical layout with streets and landmarks. Instead, it pointed to a specific place, deep within the ocean, far from any known civilization. This discovery stunned the team. An island unmarked on any modern maps had been indicated by the medallion. The symbols on the medallion suggested that this island was home to a powerful secret, something that had been hidden away for centuries. But what could it be? And why had it been marked with such importance? Dr. Hayes hypothesized that the person buried in the coffin might have been connected to this lost island, possibly as a guardian entrusted with protecting its secrets. The medallion, now identified as more than just a decorative piece, had become the key to unlocking an ancient mystery. It was clear that the young man in the coffin had been part of something much larger than himself, something that involved a hidden civilization and an artifact of unimaginable power. But what was this artifact? And how did it tie into the medallion's map? The discovery of the medallion set off a chain reaction. Global attention turned to the island, with governments, private corporations, and researchers eager to find it. The coordinates indicated by the medallion were clear. This island had to exist, and it held answers that could reshape humanity's understanding of history. Yet, as the search for the island began, a question lingered. If the civilization on this island had once been so advanced, why had they disappeared? And why had the island remained hidden for so long? The world watched as a team of scientists, archaeologists, and explorers prepared for an expedition to uncover the secrets of the island. They knew that this journey would change everything, but no one could predict just how much it would reveal. With the medallion's map pointing them to the remote, uncharted island, the team of researchers and explorers set out on an expedition that would take them into the unknown. The island was located deep in the ocean, far from any known landmass, surrounded by treacherous waters. As the team's ship approached the coordinates, a sense of excitement mixed with unease filled the air. For centuries, this island had remained a mystery, a lost place that no one had been able to find. But now, as the misty outline of the island appeared on the horizon, it was clear that the island had been waiting to be discovered. Upon landing, the explorers were immediately struck by the island's eerie beauty. Dense forests covered much of the land with towering trees and thick vines that seemed to stretch for miles. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and tropical flowers. The landscape, though lush, was wild and untouched. No signs of human activity could be seen, but there was a certain heaviness in the air that made the team feel as though they had stepped into another world entirely. The island itself was an enigma. While the vegetation and wildlife seemed familiar, the ruins scattered across the land were unlike anything the team had ever seen. Crumbled stone structures, half sunken into the earth and covered in moss, lined the coast. The buildings were made from materials that looked far more advanced than anything known to have existed hundreds, even thousands of years ago. The architecture was strange, with geometric shapes and sharp angles, as though they had been designed by a civilization that understood science and mathematics on a level far beyond their time. As they ventured deeper into the island, the team found that the ruins stretched far beyond what they had anticipated. Ancient carvings covered the walls of the structures, and many of the symbols mirrored those seen on the medallion. These carvings were a direct link to the past, offering a glimpse into the culture and beliefs of the civilization that had once thrived here. Yet the team was still no closer to understanding the full story of this lost society. But the true revelation came when they discovered a massive underground chamber hidden deep beneath the island's surface. The entrance was concealed by thick vegetation and ancient stones, making it nearly impossible to find. But after days of careful excavation, they unearthed the entrance, revealing a labyrinth of passageways that led deep into the earth. Inside, the chamber was unlike anything they had ever encountered. At the center of the chamber stood a large stone altar, surrounded by intricate carvings of the same symbols found on the medallion. The altar was framed by towering stone pillars that stretched toward the ceiling, where a faint pulsating glow seemed to emanate from an unknown source. As the team carefully examined the altar, they discovered an artifact that left them in awe. The artifact was like nothing they had ever seen, a smooth obsidian-like stone with intricate glowing patterns running through it. It seemed to pulse with energy, as though it were alive. The stone was clearly of immense importance, and its presence in this chamber suggested that it had been at the heart of the civilization's power. The carvings surrounding the artifact spoke of an object called the Heart of the Earth, a powerful relic that had the ability to control energy from the planet itself. The Heart of the Earth, it seemed, was the key to the civilization's rise and eventual fall. The ancient texts spoke of the artifact's incredible power to harness the forces of nature, to generate energy in ways that were beyond human comprehension. But the texts also carried a warning. The heart could not be controlled by just anyone. It required a guardian, someone entrusted with the task of keeping it safe from those who might misuse its power. As the team continued their investigation, it became clear that the young man whose remains had been found in the coffin had been one of these guardians. His role had been to protect the heart of the earth and ensure that its power did not fall into the wrong hands. But what had happened to the civilization? Why had it disappeared, leaving behind only these ruins and the heart of the earth? The answers were now tantalizingly close, but with each revelation came new questions. The discovery of the heart of the earth had opened a door to a new world. A world of advanced technology, ancient secrets, and a power that could change everything. The underground chamber, with its pulsating energy and ancient relics, was just the beginning. As the team of archaeologists and scientists continued to explore the ruins of the lost civilization, they began to piece together a story that was as extraordinary as it was tragic. Each new discovery uncovered more about the people who had once inhabited the island, their knowledge, and their ultimate downfall. The ruins, scattered across the island, told a story of a society that was far ahead of its time. The buildings were constructed with incredible precision, using materials that could withstand the ravages of time. Intricate carvings and murals depicting scenes of daily life adorned the walls of the structures. These images showed a people who had mastered the natural world, farmers who had tamed the land, craftsmen who had perfected their trades, and scholars who had unlocked the secrets of the universe. The island was a thriving hub of knowledge and innovation, where the forces of nature were harnessed for the benefit of all. Yet, beneath the surface of this advanced civilization, there were hints of something darker. The team discovered that the civilization had been in possession of an ancient energy source, something that was both a gift and a curse. The heart of the earth, an artifact that seemed to pulse with the power of the planet itself, was the key to this civilization's success. But as the team examined the texts and carvings in greater detail, they uncovered a disturbing truth. The heart's power could not be controlled by mere mortals. The text revealed that the heart of the earth was more than just a source of energy. It was an artifact that could manipulate the natural forces of the world, forces that were both creative and destructive. The civilization had once used the heart to build incredible technologies and to harness energy in ways that were unimaginable to the outside world. But as their power grew, so did their greed. Some within the society sought to exploit the heart's energy for their own gain, pushing the limits of what it could do. The consequences were catastrophic. The heart's power, when used recklessly, unleashed a wave of destruction that decimated the island. Entire cities were destroyed, and the once thriving society was reduced to ruins. The people, realizing the danger they had unleashed, made the difficult decision to hide the heart away, burying it deep beneath the island in an attempt to prevent it from falling into the wrong hands. But there was one last crucial detail in the texts. The heart of the earth was not just an energy source, it was a living entity, connected to the very fabric of the planet. Its power was not infinite, but it could regenerate and grow stronger over time. And with each passing century, its influence spread, seeking out those who were capable of unlocking its potential once again. The team realized that the civilization had not simply disappeared. They had been destroyed by their own ambition, consumed by the very power they had sought to control. And now, the heart was waiting, its energy building, as if it had been biding its time for the right person to come and unlock its secrets. As the team continued to investigate the island, they came across one final chilling discovery. Hidden beneath the altar where the heart of the earth had once been kept, they found a series of ancient scrolls, written by the last guardians of the island. These scrolls contained a prophecy, one that warned of the heart's return and the danger it posed. The guardians had known that someday someone would come to claim the heart's power, and when they did, the world would change forever. The mystery deepened. The man buried in the coffin, the guardian of the heart, had been entrusted with keeping the artifact safe. But his role was far more important than anyone had realized. He had been part of the last line of defense, tasked with protecting the heart from those who might misuse it. And now, it seemed, the heart's secrets were ready to be revealed once again. With the prophecy now uncovered, the team understood the gravity of the situation. The ancient texts, the artifacts, and the warnings all pointed to one undeniable truth. The heart of the earth was not just a relic. It was a powerful force that had the potential to change the world. But with that power came a great responsibility, and the civilization that had once wielded it had paid the ultimate price for their hubris. As the team continued their investigation, the urgency of their mission became even clearer. They had discovered the heart's location, its connection to the island, and its terrifying potential. But there was one question that had yet to be answered. Who was meant to control the heart? Could it be trusted to humanity again? Or would the same mistakes be repeated, leading to another disastrous downfall? Dr. Emily Hayes, who had spent countless hours translating the ancient texts, felt a deep sense of unease. The more she learned about the heart's power, the more she realized that it was not simply a source of energy. It was a living entity, one that could not be tamed by force alone. The civilization that had once controlled it had done so with great care and wisdom, but even they had failed. What made anyone believe that humanity would be any different? As the team debated what to do with the heart, they were interrupted by an unexpected discovery. Deep within the chambers, they uncovered an artifact that had been hidden for centuries. A second medallion, identical to the one found with the skeleton. This medallion, however, was slightly different. The symbols on its surface were more intricate, more complex. Dr. Hayes carefully examined it, and to her astonishment, she realized that this medallion was not just a map, it was a key. The medallion seemed to respond to the presence of the heart. When Dr. Hayes placed it near the artifact, the heart of the earth began to glow with a bright, pulsating light. It was as though the two medallions had been meant to work together. The energy that had been dormant for centuries began to stir, and the island itself seemed to come alive. The ground trembled slightly, and the air was thick with the sensation of power. The team knew they were at a crossroads. The heart had been dormant for centuries, hidden away by the civilization that had once controlled it. But now it was awakening, and with it, the potential for either incredible progress or unimaginable destruction. Dr. Hayes felt the weight of the decision that lay before them. If the heart was left to its own devices, it would continue to grow in power, seeking out someone capable of unlocking its true potential. But could anyone truly control it? The world was watching. Governments, corporations, and individuals all sought to lay claim to the heart of the earth, each eager to harness its power for their own purposes. But as the team stood on the precipice of this discovery, they realized that the heart was not something that could be controlled or owned. It was a force of nature, and like nature itself, it was unpredictable. The final revelation came when Dr. Hayes found one last hidden text among the ruins. It was a final message from the civilization's last guardians, urging anyone who found the heart to make a difficult choice. The message read, "The heart must never be claimed. It belongs to the earth. To disturb it is to disturb the balance of all life." It was a warning, and it could not have been clearer. The civilization that had once harnessed the power of the heart had ultimately paid the price for disturbing that balance. The heart of the earth was not meant to be controlled, it was meant to remain hidden, protected by those who understood its true nature. And with that, Dr. Hayes knew what had to be done. The weight of the decision hung heavily on Dr. Hayes's shoulders as she stood in the heart of the underground chamber, the glowing heart of the earth pulsing with a rhythmic energy that seemed to vibrate through the very stone beneath her feet. The ancient prophecies, the medallions, the warnings, they all pointed to the same conclusion. The heart was too powerful, too unpredictable to be controlled. And yet, here it was, awakening once again, as if it had been waiting for this moment, waiting for someone to make the ultimate choice. The world outside was in chaos. Governments, corporations, and even rogue factions were all racing to claim the heart of the earth, convinced that its power could solve humanity's greatest challenges. The promise of limitless energy, the potential to reverse climate change, and the ability to shape the future of civilization itself, all of these tantalizing possibilities were within reach. But at what cost? The ancient civilization that had once wielded this power had destroyed itself, and now history seemed to be repeating itself. As Dr. Hayes stood there, holding the medallion that had sparked this journey, she felt the weight of the responsibility she carried. She was no longer just an archaeologist uncovering ancient secrets. She was the gatekeeper of a decision that could alter the course of history. The heart's power could change the world, yes, but it could also bring about its destruction. The texts had been clear. To disturb it is to disturb the balance of all life. Her thoughts raced. Was humanity ready to control such a force? Could the world truly handle the responsibility that came with the heart of the earth? Or would they, too, fall victim to their greed, as the ancient civilization had? Dr. Hayes knew the answer deep in her bones. No matter how noble the intentions, the power of the heart was too great, too dangerous to be wielded by any single person or society. It had to be protected. It had to remain hidden. In that moment, Dr. Hayes made a decision that would echo through history. She carefully approached the heart of the earth, the artifact's glow intensifying as she did. She could feel the pulse of its energy, as if it were calling to her, tempting her to claim its power. But she resisted. With the medallion in her hand, she carefully placed it beside the heart, aligning the symbols in a way that caused the artifact to react. A bright flash of light filled the chamber, and for a brief moment, the ground beneath them seemed to shift. Then everything went still. The heart's glow began to fade, its energy dissipating as the symbols on the medallion and the heart locked into place. The artifact seemed to lose its power, its once thrumming energy now dormant. Dr. Hayes had done it. She had sealed the heart of the earth once and for all, locking away its power in a way that could never be accessed again. The team stood in stunned silence as they realized what had just happened. The heart of the earth, the source of untold power, was now sealed, never to be disturbed again. Dr. Hayes knew that this was the right decision. The world wasn't ready for such power, and perhaps it never would be. As the team made their way back to the surface, the island seemed to return to its peaceful state. The wind rustled through the trees, the air clear and untainted by the ominous presence of the heart. The island had reclaimed its secret, and the civilization that had once thrived here would remain lost to time. The world outside would never know the full extent of what had been uncovered on the island. The heart of the earth would remain a mystery, its power locked away for eternity. Dr. Hayes and her team would return to their lives, forever changed by the decision they had made. The lesson, though, was clear. With great knowledge came great responsibility, and sometimes the greatest gift was the wisdom to walk away. Humanity was not ready for the heart of the earth, and perhaps it never would be. The past had spoken, and now it was up to the future to learn from its mistakes. The world moved on, unaware of the powerful secret that had been hidden for centuries. But Dr. Hayes knew the truth. The heart of the earth had been sealed, and with it the future of humanity had been saved.
Subscribe and press the bell icon so that you never miss the amazing video.